End it, before anyone finds out. He told her to end their baby, just to protect his perfect image. The words replayed in her head long after his voice disappeared. Selena walked into that clinic with a shattered heart. She stood beneath the sterile glow of the clinic lights, the air thick with antiseptic and quiet despair. Each step forward felt like betrayal, not of him, but of herself. Across the city, Dominic Hale signed a check with practiced calm. At home, Vivian Hale glanced at her watch. Click. Right on time. The problem was being handled. The family name remained untarnished. Selena's trembling hand clutched the pen as she signed the form. Her chest ached, her breath unsteady. She touched her stomach, whispering, "I'm sorry, baby," as a tear slipped down and broke against the white floor. But when she left that clinic, something inside her refused to die. Behind her tear-streaked face, there was fire. The quiet, unbreakable strength of a woman who had just lost everything. Except her will to fight. Because silence can be bought, but a mother's love never can. Stay with this story. It will help you rediscover happiness after the heartbreak of love. 3 years passed, but some memories never lost their voice. Every time Selena heard the sound of rain on glass, she remembered that clinic, the smell of bleach, the echo of goodbye. But life, somehow, kept moving. It was a Saturday morning at Pike Place Market. The smell of roasted coffee, the sound of laughter, children chasing bubbles in the sun. Selena Brooks held 2 small hands, Aria and Noelle, her whole world wrapped in pink scarves. For the first time in years, she felt safe enough to smile. Then she heard a voice she once knew by heart, low, calm, dangerous in its quiet. "Selena?" She turned. Dominic Hale stood a few feet away, frozen among the crowd. His eyes locked on the twins. 2 identical pairs of green eyes stared back. His eyes. The noise of the market faded. Only the pounding in Selena's chest remained. Dominic's lips parted, almost a whisper. "Whose children are they?" Selena didn't answer. Her breath caught. Her fingers tightened around the girls. She simply said, "We have to go." And as she walked away, Dominic realized the truth was alive and breathing. 3 years earlier, New York City glittered with winter light. Inside Hale Capitol Tower, Selena Brooks worked late, the youngest strategist in the firm. Numbers, campaigns, endless nights, her escape from loneliness. Dominic Hale, 36, walked the halls like he owned the air itself. Cold, brilliant, the man everyone feared to disappoint. Yet, something in Selena's quiet confidence caught him off guard. He stopped at her desk one evening. "You're the reason our last project didn't fail." She smiled politely. "Just doing my job, Mr. Hale." He lingered a second longer than he should. In that pause, 2 worlds began to tilt. To everyone else, he was the untouchable CEO. To her, at that moment, he looked simply human. Tired, curious, alive. And that was how it began. Not with promises, with a single look. A week later, an unexpected message reached her screen. "Come up to 52. Selena's heart raced as the elevator climbed floor by floor through glass and steel. Dominic stood by the window, city lights behind him. He turned slowly. "The campaign numbers came in. You did well." His voice was soft this time, stripped of command. She thanked him, trying to keep her tone steady. Silence stretched between them. The elevator chime sounded from behind. No one entered. "Close the door, Selena." The words were gentle, but they carried weight. For a moment she hesitated. Then she pressed the button, and the world outside disappeared. 2 people remained. A man used to power, a woman unsure if she should trust what she felt. Some beginnings are quiet, too quiet to notice until it's too late. Rain traced soft lines down the office glass. Selena handed Dominic a report. Their fingers brushed. Neither pulled away fast enough. He looked at her, eyes darker than before. "You know this is dangerous," she whispered. "I know." The room felt smaller, every breath louder. She should have stepped back. She didn't. When he moved closer, the space between them vanished. The first kiss was hesitant, almost fragile. Not passion yet, but recognition. A secret spark in a place built on control. Afterward, she turned away, cheeks flushed. "This can't happen again," he answered. "It already did." Outside, the storm grew heavier. Inside, two people crossed a line neither could undo, and that single moment, soft, forbidden, inevitable, would change everything that came after. For 8 months, they lived 2 separate lives. By day, professionalism, calm voices, polite distance, careful smiles. By night, everything they hid came alive. Behind closed doors, laughter replaced silence. He learned how she took her coffee, how she dreamed out loud. She learned the man behind the title, the one who never slept, who feared failure more than loneliness. When she tried to end it, he stopped her. "I'll protect you," he whispered. "Always." It sounded like a promise. It felt like love. Still, there were nights when Selena woke up beside him and saw the weight in his eyes, the invisible chains of family, image, power. She wondered if his love could survive the world he belonged to, but every time he held her, she believed. She believed that power could bend for love. She believed he would choose her. Belief is a dangerous kind of faith, the kind that breaks quietly before it shatters loud. The morning she found out, the sun felt brighter than it had in years. A faint pink line, a heartbeat of hope. She touched her stomach and whispered, "We're going to be okay." Dominic didn't smile when she told him. He sat down, silent, eyes fixed on the floor. "This changes everything," he said. "It doesn't have to," she whispered. "It could be beautiful." He stood, pacing, trapped inside invisible walls. "My family, the company, the press. Then we face them together." His silence was the answer, and in that silence the first crack appeared. Selena looked at the man she loved and realized he was terrified. Not of losing her, but of losing control. Her joy turned to fear, and her heartbeat to ache. That night, she lay awake, one hand on her belly, trying to believe in a future that was already slipping away. 2 days later, Dominic asked her to meet. But it wasn't just him waiting in the glass conference room. Vivian Hale sat beside him. Elegant, distant, every inch of her power pressed into her smile. "Miss Brooks," she began, "your situation poses certain complications." Selena frowned. "My situation?" "Your pregnancy," Vivian said smoothly. "Unmarried, public. It's a liability." Selena's breath caught. "A liability?" "For the company, for my son, for everyone involved." She looked at Dominic, searching his face for defense, for love, for anything. He said nothing. Vivian leaned forward. "You're a smart woman. I trust you'll make the right decision." Her tone was polite. Her eyes were weapons. Selena's heart pounded, anger rising through the fear. "I thought love wasn't a liability." Vivian's lips curved. "In our world, it always is." Vivian slid a folder across the table. Inside, clinic papers, signatures, and a check for $100,000. "Handle this discreetly," she said. Selena stared at the papers, her hands trembling. "You're paying me to kill my child." Vivian didn't blink. "I'm offering you a future, one that isn't destroyed by a mistake." Selena looked to Dominic, waiting, begging for a word. Any word that would prove he wasn't part of this. He stayed still, jaw tight, eyes distant. Her voice broke. "Say something." He didn't. Vivian stood, smoothing her coat. "Once this is resolved, we'll ensure you're taken care of." Selena whispered, "I don't want your money." Vivian smiled coldly. "Then you'll need your silence." And with that, the door closed. The sound was soft, but it felt like a sentence. Selena turned to Dominic, tears burning. "Are you really letting her do this?" He looked away. "It's for the best." "For the best?" she repeated. "You're choosing reputation over love." "I'm choosing survival," he said quietly. "You don't understand." I understand perfectly. Her voice steadied, calm now, cold. You'd rather live admired than loved. He tried to reach for her, but she stepped back. In that space between them, everything died. Trust, warmth, belief. She picked up the folder and walked to the door. If you think this is over, you're wrong, she said. This is just where I stop believing in you. Dominic didn't follow. He just stood there, watching the woman he loved walk out, taking his future with her. And as the door closed, silence swallowed everything he thought he was protecting. The elevator doors closed, sealing her inside a box of silence. Selena's tears came fast, hot, unstoppable. The betrayal echoed in her ears. It's for the best. She pressed a hand to her stomach, shaking, and whispered, "No, it's not." When the doors opened to the lobby, she didn't hide her face. She walked straight through the marble hall, past curious eyes, past the guards who once greeted her with smiles. Her heart broke with every step, but her spine stayed straight. Outside, the wind was cold. She looked up at the Heir Capitol Tower, glass, power, lies, and wiped her tears away. "They think I'll fold," she said softly. "They're wrong." That night, she sat alone in her apartment, the check on the table beside her, 50 zeros of silence, but she wasn't silent anymore. Her grief hardened into something sharper. Resolve. They had taken her love. They would not take her child. Tessa Grant opened her apartment door still in scrubs, eyes wide neat at a Salante's face. "What happened to you?" Selena handed her the folder, the check, the threat. Tessa flipped through the papers, her jaw tightening. "They think they can buy your choice." Selena nodded. "I need another option." Tessa's voice dropped low. "Then give them the lie they want." Selena frowned. "What do you mean?" "Fake the abortion. Get the records, the paperwork, everything. Make it look real. And disappear." The room went still. Selena stared at her friend. "That's insane." Tessa met her eyes. "So is what they're doing to you." They sat together through the night, whispering details. A clinic that wouldn't ask questions. A contact in medical records. A timeline that had to be perfect. By sunrise, the plan was alive. Fragile, dangerous, but theirs. Selena looked at Tessa, exhaustion in her eyes. "If this works, they'll never know." Tessa whispered back, "Then let's make sure it does." Selena arrived early. She wore no makeup, her hair pulled back, her expression empty. The nurse called her name. Each step toward that room felt like walking through water. The doctor asked questions. She answered on autopilot, voice flat, heart screaming. When the nurse handed her the final consent form, Selena froze. Then she broke. "I can't do this," she sobbed. "I can't." The nurse tried to calm her. Security was called. Selena's cries filled the hall. Real tears, real pain, perfect performance. She ran out before anyone could stop her. Outside, the sky blurred through her tears. She gasped for air, trembling, alive. Hours later, fake records were filed under her name. The report said, "Procedure completed successfully." Vivian Hale received confirmation that the problem was handled. But miles away, Selena pressed her hand against her stomach and whispered, "They think I ended you, but I saved you instead." That night, she packed her life into 2 suitcases. No photos, no memories, only what she could carry. She looked around the apartment, the walls that held laughter, the bed where love once lived. Then she turned off the lights. "They wanted me gone," she said softly. "Fine, but not my child." The highway out of New York stretched wide and endless. City lights disappeared in the rearview mirror, replaced by darkness and freedom. She drove for hours, her hand resting over her belly, her future breathing beneath it. No plan, no safety net, just courage. Raw, shaking, but real. When dawn broke over the Hudson, she whispered, "This is where we start over." She didn't know what waited ahead, but she knew what she'd left behind. A world that valued reputation more than love. and she would never go back. Portland smelled like rain and hope. Selena found a studio apartment above a bookstore. Small, cracked walls, perfect. She freelanced for local brands, working from cafes, building something from nothing. Money was tight, nights were long, but every morning she woke to quiet, to peace. No one called her name in anger. No one told her what to do. One afternoon, while pitching designs at a small startup called Verdi Threads, she met Cora Nakamura, founder, bold and kind. "You're talented," Cora said. "We can't pay much, but we need someone like you." Selena smiled. "Then you have me." Work became purpose again. Days filled with ideas, not fear. Her belly grew, so did her strength. At night, she whispered to her unborn child, "We made it out. We're free." For the first time since that cold clinic, her heart didn't ache. It beat with quiet pride. New city, new life, new beginning. The rain fell softly outside the clinic window. Selena waited for the doctor's words, her hands twisting the hem of her sweater. When he finally looked up, his eyes held surprise. "Miss Brooks," he said gently, "you're having twins." Her breath caught. Two, not one heartbeat, but two. The room tilted, her fingers trembling as she tried to understand. Fear and joy crashed together like waves. She smiled through tears. "Two hearts. I guess we both survived." On the drive home, she couldn't stop touching her stomach. The thought of them, tiny, fragile, alive, filled her with something fierce and new. Not just hope, defiance. She whispered, "They tried to end you, but you're here, both of you." Outside, the clouds broke, and sunlight spilled across the road. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. She had two reasons to keep fighting, and she swore she'd never let the world take them away. The contractions came early, 2 months before her due date. Tessa's hands shook as she steered through the storm. "Hold on, Selena," she whispered. "We're almost there." Lightning flashed across the highway. Selena gripped the seat, breathing through pain that felt endless. "I can't." "Yes, you can," Tessa said. "You've done harder things." Hours blurred into screams and tears. Then finally, 2 cries cut through the noise, sharp, alive, beautiful. The nurses smiled. 2 girls, small but strong. Selena could barely see through her tears. She reached for them, whispering, "You'll never know how strong your mother was." Tessa placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it." Outside, the storm eased into quiet rain. Inside, 3 hearts beat in rhythm. Fragile, but unstoppable. The world had taken everything once. Now it had given her back something no power could buy. 3 years passed like pages turning. Selena built a small design agency, Brooks Creative, from her kitchen table. Late nights, coffee cups, dreams stacked on bills. Clients grew. So did her confidence. She wasn't the scared woman who once ran in the dark. She was a mother, a business owner, a survivor. Aria loved painting rainbows on every surface she could find. Noelle preferred numbers, order, plans. 2 little mirrors, wild heart and wise mind. Every morning, Selena walked them to daycare, their laughter chasing away the ghosts of New York. Every night, she thanked the quiet for keeping them safe. Money was still tight, but the light in her daughter's eyes was worth more than gold. She had turned fear into purpose, loss into strength. And for the first time, success didn't mean power. It meant peace. The envelope came on a Wednesday. Cream paper, elegant handwriting, her sister's. Inside, a wedding invitation. Selena stared at the words for a long time. Seattle, the city she'd sworn never to see again. Her hands trembled slightly as she folded the card back into its envelope. That night, after putting the girls to bed, she sat by the window. Outside, the city lights flickered like old memories. Tessa called. "You're going, right?" Selena hesitated. Seattle means ghosts. Tessa smiled through the phone. maybe it also means closure. She looked at a photo of Arya and Noelle asleep, their faces calm and safe. They deserved to see the world, not her fear of it. So she took a deep breath and whispered, "All right, we'll go." Sometimes healing doesn't come from running. It comes from returning. Pike Place Market shimmered under the morning sun. Selina held her daughter's hands as they laughed at the fish stalls, joy spilling everywhere. Then that voice again. "Selina?" She froze, turned. Dominic Hale stood there. Older, sharper, eyes filled with disbelief. "You told me you terminated the pregnancy." The words cut through the noise like glass. Selina's breath trembled. "Our baby was never gone," she said softly. "You just never looked for the truth." For a moment, the world stopped. The twins stared at the stranger with their father's eyes. Dominic's face broke. Guilt, awe, confusion colliding all at once. He stepped closer, but Selina moved back. "They're my daughters," she said, "and you've already missed enough of their life." He couldn't speak. The crowd moved around them, but time stayed still. In that instant, Karma looked him in the eye and smiled through hers. The crowd around the market began to slow. People sensed tension, but didn't understand. Two little girls clung to their mother's coat, eyes wide. "Mama," Arya whispered, "who's the angry man?" Selina kept her voice calm. "Someone from the past, sweetheart." Dominic's face was pale, his voice shaking with rage. "You lied to me!" Selina's tone didn't rise. "You gave me no choice. You could have told me, and watch you sign another check to make it disappear?" She cut in. The words hit harder than shouting ever could. A woman selling flowers nearby looked away. The world kept moving, pretending not to hear. Dominic's jaw clenched. "You destroyed my trust." Selina's eyes filled, but her voice stayed steady. "No, Dominic. You destroyed us long before I ever had the chance." The twins pressed closer to her legs. Dominic saw it then. Fear in their eyes. Fear of him. He took a step back. Selina gathered her daughters and walked away without looking back. The crowd swallowed her up. For the first time in his life, Dominic Hale felt what it was like to lose power and be left standing in silence. 2 days later, a knock echoed through Selina's hotel room. A man in a suit handed her a document. Notice of custody petition. Dominic's handwriting on the envelope. Her stomach twisted. That evening, she met him in the lobby. He looked exhausted, desperate. "I'll fight for custody," he said flatly. Selina stared at him, disbelief turning to anger. "Go ahead," she said quietly. "Try explaining how dead children breathe." He froze. Her words cut through the air like a blade. The people at nearby tables pretended not to listen, but they did. "You think this is revenge?" he said, voice low. "This is survival," she answered. "You taught me that." He tried to speak again, but she turned and walked toward the elevators. "Don't do this, Selina," he called after her. She stopped, looked back once. "You already did." The doors closed between them with a quiet hiss, a sound that ended something final. For the first time, Dominic realized what true helplessness felt like. Night fell heavy over Seattle. Selina sat by the window, city lights flickering on the water below. Tears slid down her face in silence. She didn't sob. She simply unraveled, piece by piece. A small voice came from behind. "Mama, was that man bad?" Selina turned, forcing a smile. "No, baby. Just lost." Arya climbed into her lap. Noelle followed. 2 warm bodies against her shaking chest. She held them tighter than ever. "Will he come back?" Noelle asked. Selina hesitated, eyes fixed on the skyline. "I don't know," she whispered. "But if he does, we'll be ready." They fell asleep against her shoulders. She kept holding them long after, afraid to let go. Outside, a ferry's horn echoed through the night. Inside, a mother fought not to drown in her memories. Sometimes strength isn't loud. Sometimes it's the quiet act of staying soft in a world that tried to harden you. The church bells rang softly in Seattle's mist. Selina adjusted her daughter's dresses, their curls bouncing with excitement. She smiled, forcing calm, unaware of what waited inside. The ceremony began. Guests whispered, laughter echoed. Then her heart stopped. Dominic Hale was standing at the altar beside the groom. He looked different, older, quieter, but his eyes still found her instantly. The twins tugged her sleeve. "Mama," Arya said, pointing, "the man from the market." Selina's breath caught. "Yes, sweetheart, the same one." Their joy felt innocent. Her fear did not. During the vows, she could feel his gaze, steady, regretful, unshakable. He didn't speak to her, didn't move closer, but when the ceremony ended, he waited by the terrace doors. Selina knew she couldn't run forever. She took a slow breath, kissed her daughters' heads, and walked toward him. The time for avoidance was over. The terrace was quiet, the air cool with rain. Selina stopped a few feet away. "You have 5 minutes," she said. Dominic nodded. "I'm not here to fight," he began. "I just need to say I'm sorry." She folded her arms. "Sorry doesn't change what happened." He met her eyes. "No, but it's all I have left. I was a coward, Selina. I let fear decide everything." Her throat tightened. "Fear? You call that fear? You destroyed a family before it even began." He looked down, shame breaking through the mask. "I've thought about that day every single morning since, about what I lost, about who I became." The rain started again, soft, forgiving. "I don't expect you to forgive me," he said quietly. "But let me know them. Let me earn the right to be in their lives." She didn't answer at first. Then she said, 5 minutes are up. But she didn't walk away. And, for the first time, neither did he. Days passed before she agreed to meet again. They sat at a small cafe near the pier, the sound of waves mixing with silence. Selina didn't waste time. "If you want to see them, there are rules," she said. Dominic nodded once, waiting. "Supervised visits only. No drama, no control. You don't show up unannounced. You don't question my choices as their mother." Her voice stayed calm, but her hands trembled under the table. He nodded again. "I understand." "Do you?" she asked. "I do," he said quietly. "I just want to know them, Selina. I'll take whatever you allow." For a moment, she looked at him. Really looked. The arrogance was gone. The man sitting before her seemed smaller, human. "Then start with honesty," she said. "I will." She signed the visitation papers that afternoon. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a door. One she chose to open, just enough for light to pass through. The first meeting was awkward. Dominic brought picture books and cookies, unsure where to begin. The twins watched him carefully, shy but curious. He read to them about rainbows and brave explorers. His voice shook at first, then softened. When he laughed, it sounded like something long buried returning to life. Later that night, as Selina tucked them into bed, Arya whispered, "Mama, maybe he's sad." Noelle nodded sleepily. "Maybe he's our daddy." Selina froze, tears filling her eyes. She brushed their hair back gently. "Go to sleep, my loves," she whispered. When the room grew quiet, she sat by the window, holding her face in her hands. Children see truth before adults dare to. She had built walls to protect them, but somehow, through their small kindness, the walls began to crack. For the first time, she wondered if healing meant letting go, not of pain, but of fear. A week later, a courier arrived with a brown envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter and legal documents stamped and signed. Selina read slowly. "I have resigned from Hale Capital. I've transferred my shares to charity. I have enough to live, but not enough to rule. I choose them over everything." Her eyes blurred. She sat down, reading the lines again and again. The man who once hid behind money had finally let it go. No words of persuasion, no promises of change, just proof. Attached was another page, a drawing made by the twins from their last visit. 2 stick girls holding hands with a tall man. Underneath, in crayon, it said, "Us." Selina's tears fell onto the page, smudging the ink. For the first time, she didn't feel anger when she thought of Dominic, only a quiet ache, and a beginning she never thought possible. It happened on a Sunday morning. Selena brought the twins to the park where Dominic waited with a picnic blanket and nervous eyes. The girls ran to him laughing without hesitation. He looked up and saw Selena watching from a distance. Their gaze met, no words, only peace. Moments later, another figure appeared. Vivian Hale. Older now, her elegance dimmed by guilt. She hesitated at the edge of the field, uncertain. Then a small voice called out, "Hi, Grandma!" Vivian froze. Arya ran over, handing her a flower. Noelle followed, smiling. Something in the woman's face broke, years of pride melting into tears. She knelt, gathering the children close. Selena watched quietly. The cycle of control and silence finally ended, not with revenge, but with innocence. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't need permission, only time. Morning light spread across the kitchen, soft and golden. Selena flipped pancakes while the twins sat at the table, coloring. Their laughter filled the small room like music. Dominic carried plates from the counter, quiet but content. No tension, no distance, just an ordinary morning that finally felt right. Arya held up her drawing, proud and smiling. "Look, Mama, we're a butterfly family now." Selena paused, her throat tightening. She brushed a strand of hair from Arya's forehead and whispered, "Yes, we are." For a moment, no one spoke. Outside, the city stirred awake, unaware of the miracle happening in this small kitchen. Inside, broken pieces had found a way to fit again. Not perfectly, but beautifully. Selena watched Dominic pour juice for the girls, his movements gentle, unsure, but sincere. She felt peace settle over her, the kind that comes only after storms. Sometimes the most broken families become the most beautiful, and sometimes love doesn't need to be perfect to be true. If you believe love can heal what power destroys, stay. There are more stories like this, stories of second chances that begin where pain once lived.